Hello, I'm Tam, the TamBoTC channel, and, well, you're probably wondering why the crud I'm playing Sekiro when I'm going to be reviewing a show. First off, I did have other footage for the background, but that video not only had weird problems where it started cutting out my voice, and I decided to record it on something on my PS4 for now, until I solved the problem. There's also been some other strange technical issues, and my friend's gonna help me figure that stuff out. It had something to do with something he did when he was over my place to the router. So while we still have great internet, it's just not as great as it would be. So sorry for that. There were also a couple other issues, but they can be kind of fixed easily, so don't need to worry about those. But they did interrupt my demo video, sadly. Ooh. But let's talk about, and I'm dead. Unless I decide to get up and fight you. But when it comes to talking about... I haven't played this in a while, by the way. Oh no, really? Let's pause it and stick it and get that set up then. But when it comes to Dark Crystal, the new show, Age of Resistance, I am a big fan of the original Dark Crystal, actually, and I love that. I watched it both before and after the show, so that I can kind of understand things again that may be going on. And I absolutely loved the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, I'm gonna say. I'm glad that something got treated with respect that is of a older franchise. These guys are tough. But it was a very colorful movie. It had really great sequences. I did feel the action in some places was a bit iffy. It was kind of jumpy. It's kind of like you're taken action scenes where the camera's really shaky and jumping all over the place. But it served its purpose, and it was done well enough for what it needed. And there's not too many action scenes, but it's not bad when it happens, when the action starts to kick in. So the Skeksis are definitely going to be the stars of the show, and I was really pleased with Chamberlain, especially. Oh gosh, hello, big boy. Didn't expect that guy there. Sorry that this keeps interrupting. Yeah, I loved Chamberlain. He was played by Simon Pegg. I believe somebody else, I remember like just saying to myself, he sounds like Joker is played by Mark Hamill. I just kept thinking that, but it didn't interrupt the movie for me or anything. It was just something that I kept having in my mind once in a while. This was also a movie where I literally went on Wikipedia to learn more stuff. And I was thinking to myself, where's the Urskek, which are the beings at the very end of the first movie? You should watch it, by the way, definitely. And I was wondering if they were going to get into that. There was even a part where I thought it was going to be a gigantic plot hole to the series, but they turned out to clean that right up, clear it up. But yeah, nothing spoiler, but this is a non-spoiler review after all. But it's cool to get a bunch of like lore and details from this. It's kind of like Dark Souls in a way, the Dark Crystal. I always think of it as Dark Souls, where there's a lot of lore. Basically, think if Dark Souls got a TV show, it probably would over-explain a lot of stuff. There is exposition at the beginning of the show, but there is also exposition at the beginning of the movie, though short. Yeah, it was fine. It was beautiful. I love the cinematography. Oh, I hate those guys. It had some great acting in it. I loved the acting chops on everybody. I loved the voices of both the new and old characters. The new and old characters were well developed. I think it's Zeet V or something. I can't remember her name. Like at least the first letter for some reason. I'm having a problem trying to recall. But I hate these little guys there. I'm not gonna bother him. Yeah, she was sticking adorable to me, but she plays a giant part in the story. But you'll see her. She's fun. I loved how everything played out. You're going through, I guess, like 3 separate plots, and you learn that there are 7 clans of gelflings on that world. I can't remember what the world is called. They named the world. But it was cool to see how everything played out, how the Skeksis turn evil. There is a couple of weird things that I would have to get into spoilers with, and they're not so much problems, but they did kind of make me question a few things with the show, but they're not big problems. As a matter of fact, the problems I'm about to bring up soon don't really affect the show at all. I might need to return back to base just so I can heal up. But yeah, the problems I'll mention are really not big enough to bring down the rating of the show for me. This was an excellent show. I loved it. It's definitely going to bring attention to the older movie. Oh, they're already dead. And that's great. They did some great puppet work, great, there was CGI. I loved the background, like, scenery CGI, but when there was, like, creatures that they used CGI on, even though there's a lot of practical effects and puppets, once again, that is great, it was definitely noticeable and stood out, but I don't know if it was bad. It just stood out. I guess because there's a lot of puppetry going on in the entirety of the show, or most of the show. So it's still really cool to see that this is a thing, and I'm glad it's a thing. There we go, make these idiots go away, please. Yeah, I needed more health. Colorful, brilliant. I love the world. You know how people describe Morrowind as feeling like very alien and just magical in this just really unique way? That's how the world of and they really captured the feeling of the original Dark Crystal like 10 times and over. This is definitely like a worthy series to say is on par with the original. It's hard to really say that a TV show is better though than a movie, because while they're both visual medias, they're both completely different. One's a TV show that spans a long time through, and the other one is just a movie that's like, I can imagine if they decided to make a movie of what the show did, it probably would be condensed more and feel kind of rushed. Like they'd have to cut a lot out, probably even like character development. What they had to work with was still a fantastic job, because just one of the episodes is like practically the length of a movie, or just like 2 episodes, so you can probably imagine it wouldn't feel quite as at home with itself and its plot as say, oh, fall damage, as say if it was a TV show, as we're seeing now. But it's brilliant. I love it. I thought the voice actors did a brilliant job. Like, I didn't think Simon Pegg could do such a great job on Chamberlain. I'm glad he does. And I love Simon Pegg. Shaun of the Dead, Paul, you name it. Just absolutely awesome guy. Even my favorite character, Nice Age Buck. I also love the music, the atmosphere, just a lot of the locations were absolutely gorgeous. was just amazing and filled with wonder. Yeah, it's definitely worth hopping onto Netflix and watching, even if you're only gonna watch that. But there might be some other stuff, like I recommended Invader Zim. But yeah, this was an awesome show. I would definitely watch it again if it was ever on Blu-ray or something, or you could own it physically. I would definitely do that, because it was really a fun time with this show. Yeah, all the characters were portrayed pretty well. Oh great, we have dogs. Dag-nabbit, puppets. Pupperoos don't like me. There's a lot of, like, when it comes to something like, Dark Crystal, there's a lot of life in the Dark Crystal. Like, almost everything is alive. Are you gonna fall down, puppy? Okay. Now you fall down, puppy. There's a lot of life. Almost everything is a puppet or just alive. It's just awesome. It was the one awesome thing about, Dink. That's for sneaking up on me. Yeah, this show, I don't know what more to say, so let's get into some of the minor flaws I had with it. First off, there is humor, and it's not bad, and I think either Key and Peele play a character in this, along with somebody else that's known for their more comedic take in movies. I can't remember who it was. I'd have to look up the cast again, but I know at least some of the actors and actresses. But yeah, I loved the humor to an extent. I did feel like it did get a little cringy, just a little bit. It felt a little bit out of place, but it wasn't enough to ruin the show once again or drop the ratings. So it's just a little nitpicky moment I had. The next thing has to be, there's this weird moment that I think is like kind of a callback to a weird scene in the Labyrinth, which was the hands part in the Labyrinth, where the hands would talk to Jennifer Connelly's character and make faces in order to do so. There's a similar scene to that, but it's not exactly the same. It just was really weird, and I was even to myself, what the hell am I looking at? Oh, that's what I'm looking at. This is so weird. Like, even as a callback, I was just like, this is strange. It doesn't really work well here. But I won't spoil what it is, of course. But yeah, just note that it's weird when the moment comes. So there's weird little things. I think if there's a problem, which once again is subjective, like most of the things that are being said in this, don't take it seriously. It's just my opinion, darn it. You never know anybody nowadays when somebody's gonna take something so serious. But I just, that's just my little warning. My little silly warning, I guess. But also being serious, of course. When it comes to it, this problem doesn't really harm the show, but remember when I said, like, giving Dark Souls a show? Which I guess you could say Vadi Vidya would be the equivalent of that. If you, like, over-explained a bunch of stuff, or you went over a lot of the stuff that was mysterious about the Dark Crystal, the original, or what was mysterious about Dark Souls that you had to kind of figure out on your own. That's kind of how, the show is. It kind of takes a lot of the mystery and intrigue of the show, which is still fun and interesting to look up and such. I even done it myself, but, I mean, it may or may not ruin that for you. It's really hard, because I don't think it ruined it for me, personally. But I just wanted to bring it up in case, for some people, it does. And that's the thing that they do love about the Dark Crystal. A lot of the mystery. Ooh. Alright, Dink. You want some? There we go. Sorry for that. This show definitely had to be like a high rating too, because I didn't check the rating. Because you know how the original Dark Crystal is like known as this dark kids show. It's kind of like the Majora's Mask of kids shows, or kids movie, I should say. This had some pretty gross, creepy moments. And that's kind of why I feel like it's in the spirit of the original Dark Crystal as well, and it's not just one or two things, it's a lot. But it was really just like creepy, and it's got to have like a higher rating for certain things that happen in it. But yeah, I do think that the music and like atmosphere was maybe a little bit. I'd have to watch it over again. I've watched the original Dark Crystal enough to know like the music and the atmosphere kind of really stand out in the original. Like literally the opening of the Dark Crystal, there's music that feels kind of like it should be in a horror movie, I should say. But there's a lot of fantastical, just brilliant music that just gives you that alien but also kind of fantasy vibe that even Morrowind was known for. Its music. It's very similar to that. I don't know if it's as great, but it's really on par, and I love the Dark Crystal. I got to show my friends the movie recently. I would love to show them the show. I'm saying show too much. But this was an awesome show. I'm going to give it my final ratings, of course. There was barely any real problems with this, just little nitpicky ones. Not enough to say it was bad or anything, or there's something to watch out for. I loved learning about the cultures of like the Gelflings and such. I loved the music, the acting. It was beautiful, it was very colorful, it had some good action. Ow, why did you hurt me? You hurt me! It had some good action still. Dink. I'm dead. Ooh. I'm not doing good with this guy. So I have 3 ratings if you guys don't know. Oh, I never picked this up. Interesting. Fistful of Ash. But my 3 ratings, one is a personal rating, my own personal rating. Ooh, I can sneak up on him now. Let's see, what way is he facing? Guess what? But yeah, sorry for that. 3 ratings, personal rating, a user recommended rating, and a more like realistic rating, what I think like critics and such would rate it. So I think the realistic rating is going to be a 8.8 out of 10. I think my personal rating is going to be a 9.4 out of 10. And my user recommended rating is going to be a solid 9 out of 10. So now you know, and knowing is half the battle. But I hope you had fun with this video nonetheless. I'm sorry that I couldn't have some Dark Crystal. I also be careful, even though we got the copyright law, I also be careful to play footage for stuff like either using copyrighted songs or copyrighted footage, such as the Dark Crystal or just a movie in general. Especially when it comes to companies like Walt Disney and such. You never know, and I don't want to get hit with more copyright claims and even a copyright strike, so I'm very cautious and very careful with that stuff. So just note that when you're going into some of these reviews. Hopefully I can do more of that for future videos. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments below. I hope I did well enough. I don't claim to be professional at reviewing. This is just an average person doing an average review of your average typical show. Okay, maybe not. This was a sticking amazing sight to be had for a show in a long while, and I'm glad it exists once again. So it's great to see this stuff. I don't know if they did a Labyrinth movie or show or something. How would that even turn out? I don't even know. It'd be weird. I mean, maybe they could do kind of like what Alice in Wonderland did, though I don't know if it would turn out as well, where Jennifer Connelly's older, her character, I can't remember her name in the original movie. I'm trying to find my movie too, so my friends will watch that one. That's a great movie, Labyrinth. Yeah, I'll have to watch it again, and maybe like if they did do that, it would be older Jennifer Connelly returning or something, or there'd be a new villain, a new quest. David Bowie, of course, sadly isn't around anymore. Rest in peace. If you guys do want me to do a spoiler review, let me know in the comments below. And I will see you guys next time. You have an awesome day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. When you do subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications and to keep up to date with my latest content. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!